Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. And then that rounds us out to the rumor mill. It's a short rumor mill this week, but it's all has to do because we have this because we have the Discovery Warner Brothers thing kind of looming. Yeah, that's lending itself to a lot of rumors these days. So let's start with what we have and we will move right along. We have three different rumors that are based around the Aquaman 2 movie. Jason Momoa's next lead role for DC, for the DCEU, it would seem. The first of those rumors is that David Zaslav is making major changes to this movie. Instead of cutting it completely because they've already invested so much, it seems that, according to the rumor, he's making some major changes. Not the least of which because certain things have to change because Batgirl is not happening. And then we have another rumor that kind of ties into that. But so this first rumor, major reshoots being necessary because Zaslav deems it so, I'm going to give this one about a 60%. There is a fair reason to believe that that is what is happening. Yeah, so next on this same, series of rumors, we have Ben Affleck being in this movie. We know that Ben Affleck is in this movie, but simply his existence here is enough for the rumor mill to say, well, now Michael Keaton is no longer going to be a part of this movie. And again, this ties back to that first rumor in the reshoots because Zaslav is making them reshoot all of the scenes that had Michael Keaton Batman in it with Ben Affleck Batman. Even though the two could theoretically exist simultaneously if they found a way to do the multiverse right, I don't know that they're going to. So, yeah, I don't think this one's very true, though yeah, we're giving this one a 45%. I feel like there is kind of enough to muddy this one up that we can't really tell, but I really don't think this is the direction that they're going to go because Michael Keaton's just too much of a hit with fans. And if Zaslav is doing these things because he wants to make money, then keeping Keaton in is going to make more money than taking Keaton out, especially because his inclusion was so high profile. So that brings us to our third rumor for Aquaman 2, and that is that Zaslav is going to continue the DCEU through the Aquaman 2 movie, and in so doing wants to bring in the Matt Reeves Batman into the DCEU. No. I don't think this one's accurate really at all. And honestly, it flies in the face of another rumor we're going to talk about here in a minute. So, no, there's no reason, there's very little evidence to suggest that this is the direction that Zaslav wants to go. There's very little evidence to suggest that, honestly, we're going to get more than what Matt Reeves wants to make when it comes to his Batman universe, because it's a different universe. So 35% likelihood that this is going to be a thing, and that's honestly quite generous. Next rumor has to do, once again, with Batman. This time we're talking directly about the Matt Reeves Batman. This rumor is a little bit of a different take on it, and that is that after the planned trilogy that Matt Reeves is going to do, then his Batman, Robert Pattinson, is going to be phased out entirely. Now, this has, I feel like, a little bit more to go on because, again, if he is leaning into Ben Affleck as Batman for his main universe, Zaslav, then there's no need for Robert Pattinson. And we're going to treat the Robert Pattinson Batman as an alternate timeline. So, yeah, 60% likely that this is going to be the case. Matt Reeves is going to do what Matt Reeves wants to do. Whether or not it's limited to a trilogy, that part I believe less, but I do think once he's done, that is going to be it for his version of the DC cinematic universe. So yeah, 60% there. Our next one has to do with the Snyderverse. Again, these are all kind of intermingled. So Snyderverse is what Zaslav, according to this rumor, wants to continue. And the rumor claims that the mere existence of Ben Affleck as Batman in Aquaman and potentially other movies right now is all of the evidence they need to make this rumor be a thing. I don't think this one's necessarily going any direction meaningful, but again, you've got enough on either side to muddy up the middle. So we're going right down the middle. 50% likely that this goes somewhere because, again, too much up in the air. Then let's talk a little gaming rumor I heard, and this one is actually honestly more speculative than rumor, because of the nature. Let's get into it. Mortal Kombat 12 is reportedly going to use a new fad when it comes to fighting games, and that new fad is auto combos. Apparently, we already know that Street Fighter 6 is going to use auto combos. They have a pretty unique way of doing it, whereas other games that use auto combos, you can basically do your character and turn on these auto combos, or use these auto combos, and just button mash and get crazy huge combos. On Street Fighter, if you turn on your auto combos, then you kind of cripple your character because you don't have the full ability to do whatever you want. So let's move that over to this rumor saying that Mortal Kombat 12 is going to utilize something similar. I think there is a little bit of reason to think that that's the way this is going to go. Mortal Kombat, while they have been the ones out in front of the trends on a lot of gameplay elements for modern fighting games, they also are not one to be left behind necessarily, and this is something that casual gamers are going to flock to. So if you're a casual fighting gamer and you just want to mash buttons and still see your character do things, then I'm sure they're going to include some version of auto combos. Now, are they going to make it as egregious as, say, what was it, Tekken or Final Fight or anything like that? I don't think so. I think it will be something a little more akin to what Street Fighter is doing, because that's kind of been the way this has always gone, right? Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Street Fighter innovates one way, Mortal Kombat innovates another way, and then they start to copy each other, and then one of them pulls ahead and the other one does the same thing, and then they start to copy each other. So that, I think, is a little more logical, and they are so competitive. They are courting esports so much. I can't imagine it is going to be something that you can't turn off in game. Though I am pretty certain, 70% certain to be exact, that this will find its way into the next Mortal Kombat game, and honestly, the next NetherRealm game is even more likely. So once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.